Hey guys, glad you stopped by. So today for dinner, I thought we would do some smoking. Now I don't mean smoking like cigarettes or smoking, but I thought we'd smoke some chicken. You know, I'm gonna do some whole chicken. We're gonna do some smoked barbecue chicken on the grill. I just started to learn how to smoke different meats, chicken, pork, beef, and chicken I found so far to be they're all fairly easy and straightforward, but this one to be the easiest, and it's fun and it's tasty. We've actually already done these once before, so I found it to be the easiest of the three. If it's something that you're new to and trying to get started with, I think you'll enjoy this. But if you are new to my channel, this is your first video, welcome. If you are a returning person or a new subscriber, welcome back and thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Those are all important. Keeps us out in the algorithm. Matter of fact, you can do that right now while I'm running my yip. It'll save us all some time. You don't have to listen to me talk, and you can hit all that right down below me, and then we're growing, right? Community's getting bigger. Comments always welcome. Love comments through and through. I respond to all of them. The only thing I ask is you be kind. Think before you type. You can disagree with me or anybody in the comments. Just be polite about it. Yeah, that's all we ask, right? I will give you all your measurements in cups, tablespoons, teaspoons. I will also give them to you in grams and milliliters or kilos if it applies. That being said, why don't we go ahead and get started. We're going to I'm going to show you how I load my charcoal and wood into my Weber, because I don't have a smoker. I use my traditional charcoal grill for all this, but I can show you how I set it up, so that way we get hours of burn time, which we won't need that long with this go around. But coming later, when I do other meats, we most certainly will need more time. Chicken on average, a whole chicken takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. But anyhow, we will let's get on down here to the grill. Let me reset the camera and we'll get down here to the grill and we'll start lining up our charcoal and getting it ready, and then we'll head in the house and start prepping our chicken. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the grill, and what we're going to do now is we're going to load this with charcoal, and what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 layers high, and we're going to do what's this, it looks like a snake. It'll come around here and we'll have a gap in between, and then that way it can start burning at one end and work its way around. And because it takes a long time for charcoal to burn, if I do this from basically this post here to this post here, that's almost 12 hours. So I know this is only going to take a couple hours, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line it that way anyhow, because I can always cut it off and save the rest of the charcoal for later. So let's go ahead and we're going to start getting this lined up. And like I said, it's going to be too deep or too high. So I'm going to take my charcoal, and you want to use a good charcoal for sure. But you want to go ahead and we're going to do the first row first. And now that we've got our first row in there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start our second row. And we're just going to pile them on top of each other, you know, so they're too high. And neatness doesn't necessarily count, but you want it to be as even as possible all the way around. One. Then our next step is going to be to put on some our wood that's going to smoke. So I've got some pecan right here that I'm just going to place, you know, in separate areas, and then I've also got some hickory, or I'm sorry, mesquite, and I'm going to put those in between, and that way as this burns around, we'll get some pecan, then we'll get some mesquite, pecan, and then mesquite. Yeah, not necessarily in that order, but so now all we have to do is light this bad boy, right? So let me go get my chimney and we'll get her going. All right, so we've got about 10 pieces of charcoal in the chimney, and I've got a starter down here at the bottom. Now let's say you don't have one of these chimneys. That's okay, because I didn't have one in the beginning either. All you have to do is get a starter. Now I recommend using a starter, and you stick it over here at the beginning of your charcoal, light it, and then it'll catch this. but I want to go ahead and use the starter. That way it gives me a few more pieces of charcoal, because we're gonna end up doing 2 whole chickens, and I've got some chicken breasts I'm gonna put on here separate for Abby and anybody that may not like bone-in chicken, which is crazy. But our next step, let me get this camera up here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait. I'm gonna let those pieces of coal that are in the chimney get good and hot, right? They're gonna be ashy hot, ready to go. It won't take about 5 minutes. And then I'll just go ahead and dump them on the beginning of the charcoal and let it get going. Okay, so we are to the point now where we're good and glowing in there, and all that charcoal is lit up, so we're hot enough we can go ahead and start this freight train. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and put them on the end here, just like so. All right, now next thing we gotta do is put that really hot chimney down. We are now going to put our grate on here, and we're gonna make sure we have a clean grate, at least clean enough. You can see it's greasy, which is good. That helps with not sticking. It's kind of like cast iron. And I have got, my vents are all the way open down at the bottom, and we're just gonna leave it as such. At least with my grill with the Weber, I found it to be true. And I'm gonna put my lid on. Now, my grill has a gauge, a thermometer, and I know that this is it's actually a pretty accurate thermometer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this warm up, and I wanna get it to no higher than about 260. My sweet spot is 250, no lower than 240. And we're gonna be able to maintain that. We have to be able to maintain that, leave it, at least right in that area. And I'll use my vent holes up here to adjust that, and it does not take much. So I'm gonna let this get up to 250. And when I come back, we're gonna be inside and we're gonna get the chicken ready. All right, so I will see you here in just 1 second. All right, see you here in a second. Okay guys, we're here in the kitchen. Got the grill going, and I had a couple things to do once I came inside before I started filming again. And we're up to 240 degrees and pretty much holding strong. It's slowly going up, but that's all right. So now we're gonna prepare our chicken. And we're gonna do something that was completely new to me 2 weeks ago. And we are going to flatten our chicken, or spatchcock it, I believe is what it's called. And we're basically gonna remove the backbone from it, and we are going to flatten it. It sounds incredibly challenging, but it actually is not that bad. So the first thing we did was, I got 2 whole chickens right here, and I went ahead and made sure there wasn't any feathers left sticking on them, or anything like that. I removed almost all chickens when you get them from the store come from with usually the neck and some gizzards, occasionally the liver. The livers will be in, but that doesn't happen very often. And to remove the backbone of it, we're gonna look at what is essentially the front of the chicken where the neck was attached. And if you're squirmy with this, I'm sorry, you can skip ahead, because we are just gonna do some basic chicken breast also, and the seasonings and all that will be coming up next. And we will put those on the chicken breast also. But for those of you that aren't squeamy and want to do a whole chicken moving forward, but you're going to look for the neck, right, which is right here. That's the backbone. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chicken, and I'm going to take a pair of good deboning scissors, right? That you want them to be sharp. You can use a knife with this, but it has to be a sharp knife, or you could potentially hurt yourself. And I am just going to go on either side of this neck and backbone and cut it off. So basically we're just cutting the rib off of the backbone. Okay, so we got our backbone removed, right? And I am going to hold on to this, because I will freeze this along with the bones. Once we cook it and debone it or eat, and whatever bones are left, I'll save those and I'll freeze them, and when I get enough together, I can make chicken stock, right? As we have in the past. But you don't want any of this to go to waste, you know, and this will actually come in very handy. Or if we want to make gravy or something like that, we can certainly use it with that. If you are going to not use it and you have a garden, bury it in your garden. Just bury it deep. That way critters don't come and dig it up. But anyhow, the next thing we're going to do is, now that we've got our backbone out of there, is we're going to turn this over and we're simply just going to press down on it. Just like that. And all that does is flatten it. And you want it to be to where everything is about level, a level playing field. And I mean, you may hear some things crack and pop. That's okay. But that is essentially is spatchcocking your chicken breast. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one.
All right, we got our
chicken beat up and ready to go. Beat up, cut up and prepped. So the next thing we need to do is we're gonna add, even though these are gonna be a barbecue chicken, which we will put barbecue sauce on them, we're gonna start with a dry rub. Now, the dry rub can be as simple as just equal parts salt and pepper, but this one, the recipe I got, it has one that's, even though we have everything in the kitchen to make it with, and everybody should. It's just garlic, onion, you know, salt, pepper, things of that nature. I think it'll add 10 times more flavor with any barbecue sauce, because he never mentions what barbecue sauce he uses, but I'm sure he doesn't use the same I use. I'm using Sweet Baby Ray's. So, and it works very well with it. So I can't imagine it would be any different with the barbecue sauce you would use. But that being said, we just need a bowl, right? And we're gonna dump our handful of ingredients in there, and it's really easy. It is, yeah, it's so easy. I don't remember the gram weights, but it's right here. So I've got 4 tablespoons, 65 grams of just regular old kosher salt. You can use table salt too. Put that in there. I've got 2 tablespoons, 18 grams of coarse black pepper. I have got 2 tablespoons, 20 grams of garlic granules. You could probably use garlic powder also. I really like garlic granules, and that's all I use. I don't use powder anymore at all. Get that in there. I have got 2 tablespoons of minced dried onion, right? Just like the dried onion you'd buy in the store. That is 14 grams. You could also use granules or powder with that. And then I have got 2 tablespoons, 14 grams of cumin powder. And of course, all of this is adjustable. If you don't like cumin, or you're not that big a fan of cumin, you can back that off, take it away, add something different. There is no rule, hardened rule that says you have to use these spices. And then I've got 2 tablespoons, 16 grams of smoked paprika that I'm putting in there. And I have got 2 tablespoons, 30 grams of light brown sugar. Pop that in there. And 1 tablespoon, 15 grams of just regular plain old granulated sugar. And we're going to throw that in there. And all these amounts will be down in the description as always with the recipe. And then we're just going to mix this up. All right, so we've got that all mixed together like such. Now we can go ahead and get this on our chicken. Now, I do want to let you know, and I should have let everybody know in the last video, just because things I assume, because I've been doing this so long, that you should know. Some people don't, and it was brought to my attention, and they were absolutely correct. I am a person who is teaching other people, and I need to make sure I cover all the bases, and that is with the chicken. Now, like after I got done doing prepping the chicken up, I wiped everything down with good hot soapy water, let it dry, washed everything off, including my hands, before we moved to this step. So, and in between each step, so to speak, even though you guys don't see it, off camera, I will, you know, I do clean up, I do wash my hands a lot. I actually wash my hands so much on a daily basis that I probably should invest in a lotion company, because my hands are always dry and hurt and crack, and it's amazing. But it's neither here nor there. We should be, this is a lesson that we should be learned, right? So let me go grab another couple more, so another set of gloves. Because I don't care who you are, there are very few things in life that I mind touching without gloves on. I can almost do anything. One of them being cornmeal and oil. That makes me crazy. But another thing is chicken. It's just something about chicken in and of itself. I don't do well with the feel of it, the texture of it. But I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil right here, and I'm gonna put one of them on this chicken breast I got right here. Right? Just like such. About that. And then we're gonna give that a good rub in. Make sure we get it all coated on it, both sides, just like that. Now I have got a container over here from the last time I made this that we'll be using right here, that has this mix in it, and it's just been sitting for about a week. Now the ingredients list I gave you will give you a couple extra, a little bit extra, about that much extra, and you can just keep it in a jar. There's nothing in there that'll spoil. The most that'll happen is the brown sugar will end up absorbing some moisture and it may get hard. But we're gonna take that and we're gonna put the leftover on there, or about almost half. And we can go ahead and get some more in there just because, why not? Like that. And then we can just go ahead and get this all rubbed onto our chicken, and then I can do the same thing with the other breast, or the other chicken sitting in the container over there. Okay, so we've got both the chickens coated with the dry rub and the oil, and I do have some left. Now this time, instead of putting it in the jar, I'm actually going to hold on to this, because like I said, I've got some chicken breasts that I'm going to do the exact same process with. I am going to coat them with oil and then put the rub on them. But they don't take nearly as long to smoke. They take about a half hour, 45 minutes. Where those are going to take an hour to 2 hours, depending on the size of the chicken, but you're going to want to look at it. So the next thing you want to do, if you haven't already made it, is go ahead and make what's called a spritzer. And mine is simply just 1 cup of water, 1 cup of apple juice, and 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. And what we'll do with this is we're going to spray this on the chicken about every half hour or so, 25 minutes to 30 minutes or so, while it's cooking, and it helps to keep it moist, you know, and helps build a nice crust on it. And you'll see as we go along. But let's go ahead and head on out back outside, and we will get started on putting this stuff on the grill. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. All right, guys, so we're out here back out at the grill. It's a little warm out today. And now we got left to do is just go ahead and put these on the grill. So we'll go ahead and get you down here. All right, so we're back down here. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but we're actually we're at about 280. So in order to bring that down, all I did was go ahead and shut my vents. And I shut them completely, which I probably overdid it. But and then I came down here and I shut these vents down here. Not all the way, but close. So I'm gonna go ahead and open them back up. I'm going to leave these shut till I get down to about 260, and then I'll open them a little bit, and it should keep dropping. But it's very similar to when you're canning, you know, processing food. You don't want to make huge changes all at once, because it can get daunting if you do. But we want changes all the same. But it's okay for right now, because I'm going to take this lid off, which is going to drop the temp anyhow. So, but we've got good smoke going, you know, still got good charcoal. We're about to get into that pecan. But what we're gonna do is, we're gonna take our chicken, and I decided not to wrap them, but we're gonna put them in here, both in. Yeah, I got 2 of them, right? Just like such, and we're gonna do them face down, well, cut side down. What would have been spine side down. I'm gonna go ahead and get some of that rub here. It's on the bottom. Put it on back on the chicken, just like such. And then I am just gonna go ahead and tuck these legs, but we're gonna go ahead and get that on there, just like such. I'll get our lid back on, just like such, and then bring you back up here so I can see you. Maybe. Ugh. There you are. Ha ha. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit out here and drink my iced tea and pay attention to that thermometer for a few, get it tuned into that 250 degree mark, which is where I want it at. I said you can go as low as 235 and as high as 270, but 250 is the sweet mark, so that's where I want it at. Once I get to 250, I'll let them cook. I'm not gonna open this lid up for like 30 to 35 minutes. But when I do, I will go ahead and we will spritz them and then put the lid back on, which I'll show you the spritzing them. And then I'll just simply every 20 minutes after that, just 30 minutes, check the temperature. I need to get it up to 155, all right? That's our first temperature. So we're gonna spritz every 20-25 minutes, and when we hit 155 in temperature, we can make our next move. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. All right, guys, so I had to move into the garage because it started to rain, and I didn't want the grill to get wet, but in the process, I completely skipped filming putting the barbecue sauce on. So we'll take a look at it and I'll talk about what I did, what made me decide when it was time to put that on. So let me get the top opened up and we can take a look at our progress, right? Because all I've done so far other than putting the barbecue sauce on it is basically spritz it with our concoction of apple juice, apple cider vinegar, and water. But I mean, there we are, looking amazing, right? I think it looks fantastic. But all we did was I went ahead and I took my thermometer and I placed it right in at the thickest part of the thigh, like such. And when we reached 155 degrees, I knew it was time to put in barbecue sauce. So now we're just going to go ahead, and there's those breasts I was talking about earlier. So, and we're at 155 on both of these. We're actually closer to 160, and then our breasts should probably be close to that also, I would imagine. Yep, we are at 158-ish. And of course that's going to vary because our heat, remember we only did that half circle, our heat is somewhere over in here, so this stuff's going to be naturally hotter with the breasts back here than the ones that are over here. But we're going to let them keep going, and the magic number that we're looking for, let me go ahead and set that down real quick, get you back up here so I can see your smiling face, is, sorry, I'm gonna fire my cameraman in the morning for calling off all the time. But the magic number we're looking for in this case is 165, and we're almost there. So at 155, we went ahead and put our barbecue sauce on. Put our lid back down. We've been holding steady between 250 and 260 this entire time, and we've been about 2.5 hours. So once we get up to 165, we can pull it off and take a look at it and maybe try some. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. All right, guys, so finally, after years of research, actually about 3.5 hours, our chickens are done. Along with those chicken breasts, they're sitting over there at the table already, and everybody's staring at me like we've got someplace to be. Basically, everybody's hungry. But that's all right. We're gonna cut a piece of this just for me and you, and give it a shot. And I don't know if you can see this. Let me show you this real quick, because oh my goodness, it's amazing. But if you want to see how juicy this is, look at that juice just piling out of there. Well, it's not as piling as it was because I just cut it, but look at that. Oh, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Everybody should have one, right? But that just means it's going to be good. I'm still learning. Yeah, and smoking, kind of like cooking in itself, is it's a learning process, right? So not everybody is Jacques Pepin on their first trial run, but oh, this thing is just absolutely mind-boggling juicy and tender, falling apart tender. Look at that. I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but that is juicy, and the skin is so crisp. I'm not even gonna use a fork, but I should say a plate. This is the first time you asked somebody out on a date and they said yes, good. Holy cow. That is so juicy, so tender. Chris is making fun of me. Holy cow. You guys need to try this. Now, you don't need a smoker, obviously, to smoke things, right? We did it on a Weber. We learned how to put it around in that the charcoal in a snake form around the side so it burns slow. This is a wonderful way to cook your meats if you have the time to do it. This will impress anybody, I guarantee it, and it's really, really easy to do. You know, if you've never tried smoking before and you have a grill, like I said, you don't need a smoker, I recommend giving it a try. You know, I would like to do a couple more videos as we go. I have an idea for pork belly for bacon. I would like to do another brisket. I'd like to do another pork butt shoulder and smoke those and share that with you, because really this is an amazing way to do meats, and you can do a lot. You can freeze it. There's a lot you can do with them. They feed a large crowd and it doesn't cost a bunch of money. We would have spent more if we'd have bought these in parts, right? And I can utilize the bones to make broth with. So we are in great shape. But anyhow, I'm gonna go get these to the table. Tomorrow for dessert, I know what we're gonna do, but you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But you're gonna like it, I guarantee it. So, but until tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them, and you love them very much. They may need to hear it, especially nowadays. At least it's gonna make them feel good, make them smile. It's gonna make you smile and feel good just to tell them, right? And if you make them some smoked chicken like this on the grill, I guarantee that they're gonna know that you love them. It's gonna lead to hours of conversation about how great it is. And there's enough, you'll be able to invite friends over, neighbors, guy walking down the street, give some to the mailman for his lunch tomorrow. You're gonna make a lot of friends with these, I guarantee it. So, till tomorrow for dessert, I love you and I will see you then. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.